In this episode of One Drummer's Journey, we're talking about how to get gigs as a local musician. Let's go. I'm currently in Southwest Florida. I've got the string of gigs down here, so I get to hang with my family, which is beautiful. This is where I grew up. I'm actually walking in this really cool park that I didn't know existed until today. I'm loving it. Last night was a great gig. I played with the Gulf Coast Symphony Orchestra. It's a volunteer group that kind of fills out the gaps with professionals. They don't have a drum set player, so often I'm playing drum set with them, and it's always a great time. This was easily the funnest gig I've done with him. Played a show called Rock On. We played some tunes like Don't Stop Believin', We Will Rock You. 25 or 6 to 4. Respect just a little bit. We're talking about how to get gigs as a local musician. I've been playing professionally for almost 3 years now. I graduated from school in May of 2015 and it's 2018 now. So almost 3 years I've been playing professionally. I've never had another job. All I've ever done is play music, teach music, and write music. So I feel like I've got just a little something to offer. So I want to offer it to you guys. When you hear people talk about how to get gigs, you often hear, well, you've got to take lots of auditions and you've got to go to jams. Those are important. I'm not knocking those, but what I want to talk about is something that's a little bit higher level than just going out and trying to show yourself. By the way, I've only gotten maybe 2 or 3 gigs ever directly from going to a jam or taking an audition. Where all of my gigs have come from have been recommendations from friends and teachers and colleagues. That's where most of the stuff comes from, at least for me. So what I want to focus on is how to make the most of those kinds of connections. Okay, so let's discuss the defining principle that I want you to get in your mind. This is super important. You got to get this right because it's everything. You are always auditioning. All the time you're auditioning. You're not just auditioning when you go take an audition, you're auditioning on every single gig you take. You're auditioning at every single practice session. You never know who can hear you practice. Even when you think you're by yourself, it may just be that Quincy Jones is walking by. You want him to hear you sounding good. Each private lesson that you have with your teacher, if you're taking lessons, those are auditions. Teachers give opportunities to their students. In fact, my very first gig ever, I played congas with the Southwest Florida Symphony. It was a recommendation from my teacher. Every video that you put up on the internet, that's an audition too. People see those, and they will infer from those videos whether or not you're the right fit for their gig. So by the way, if all of your videos are videos of you chopping out, they might think all you want to do is chop out and not hire you for the gig. If you're currently in college or even in high school, you're auditioning for your peer group all the time. Guys, don't mess this one up. A lot of my gigs have come from friends from college. So you want to build good relationships with the people that are in your environment. And also on the subject of college, think about those guest artists that come in. You want to impress them too. Nate Smith got the gig with Dave Holland when Dave Holland came and visited his college. So you got to be careful about the relationships you're building with people in college as well, because those relationships are important later. So remember that guiding principle. You are always auditioning. You're never not auditioning, I promise. Now that we've talked about that defining principle, I want to give you three specific things that you can do to help yourself get gigs as a local musician. The first one is be good. You got to be able to play your instrument well. That's the first thing. But of course you're good already, but you have to do good on each gig. So that means playing the music well, playing it tastefully, using your ears, listening well, being over prepared. You know, here's another thing too. Always play your instrument well. Just every single time. When you sit down to practice, approach your instrument with a level of respect. I want to play this instrument well because it's my instrument. Even when you're warming up, don't fiddle around. Play something intentional because people can hear what you're doing. And you want your best perception to be given at any moment. Next, you gotta be professional. It's not enough to be able to play the gig well. Playing the gig is just a couple hours of the job as a whole. There's so much more that goes into it. And we're gonna talk about one more thing after this that's even more important that I think people miss. But for this moment right now, let's think about being professional. You need to show up on time. I'm gonna let you in on a secret. I have to drive the highway 2.5 hours often to get to my gigs. My gigs are often far away. And being late is 100% always my fault when I am. Now, thankfully, I'm very rarely late because I discovered the secret. It is called leaving early. I will give you a hint. Something is going to go wrong when you get on the road. I promise. The way to make sure that you don't end up being late is leave early. Speeding does not help. Those couple miles an hour over the speed limit aren't really gonna help you get there on time anyway. You're just gonna feel yourself frustrated going in and out of traffic. On top of that, if you get pulled over for speeding, you're really gonna be late for your gig. The secret is leaving early. It's not traffic's fault. It's your fault if you're late. So make a habit of leaving early. Don't be distracting in rehearsals. Band leaders hate that. When it's rehearsal time, it's work time. Don't have chat conversations on the side, pulling out your phone and looking around and all that. Don't be distracting. Be focused. Be in the moment and try to get everything right and make it easy on the band leader. Also, take criticism well. If they say, hey, can you play a little bit softer? Your answer is, I'm here for you. I'd love to play a little bit softer. Hey, could you play brushes on that? I'm here for you. Let me pull my brushes out. Could we try something a little different there? Don't get too attached to what you were playing there. Your answer is, I'm here for you. What do you want to hear? And by the way, another thing you can think about, ask what you can do better for the band leader. It only takes a second to say, hey, is there anything I can change to make you a little more comfortable with this? Especially if you see some signs of discomfort. You know, if you see the face looking like that, that might be a good moment to say, hey, is there anything you need different from me? They might be thinking it, and then you'll give them the opportunity to express it. And then you'll be able to fulfill their vision for them a little bit more. And lastly, are you ready for it? The last thing I want to share with you, and I think it's the secret weapon that no one thinks about, is be kind. Be a positive force in the room that you're in. Let me ask you a question. Is music fun? Is it fun? If it's fun, smile. If the band leader looks like they need help setting things up, offer your services. Say, hey, can I help you set that up? And also consider the musicians that are around you. If you need to warm up, if it's a situation where everyone is warming up, don't be the loudest person warming up. Warm up quietly, do everything you need to do to get your muscles and your mind prepared for your performance, but do it in a way that's not distracting, in a way that's kind. Say something kind when you walk into a space. Hey, it's good to see you again. Hey, I've missed playing with you. Hey, I'm looking forward to the show. It's gonna be good. Be a positive force. When the gig is over, say, hey, thank you for having me, to the band leader. When the gig is over, let the musicians around you know, hey, I appreciated playing with you. Good job, man.
Right.
See you later.
Yeah, man. Take care.
Dude, you were great, man.
You were great.
All of you
I
are.
had a wonderful time with you. Yeah.
Have a good night, my brother.
All right, yeah, you too. Take care.
Thank the staff. Have a good night. Thank you. Thank the restaurant staff, or thank the production staff. Thank the backstage folks. Let everyone know that you appreciated the work that they did, because everyone around you is working hard, and it always feels good to know that you've been appreciated. And by the way, all of this stuff shouldn't be acting. It should all be sincere. If it's not sincere, then I'd suggest looking at your feeling about music. I mean, are you thankful? Do you feel like you're the luckiest person in the world? Because I do. I wake up in the morning and I mean, I have to work hard. All this stuff is hard work, but this is so cool, man. We play music. Look, you see how pumped I am about this? This is music. We do such a cool thing. We should be excited about it, and we should be grateful. And that grateful attitude is gonna breathe breed positivity all up in you, and when you share that positivity with other people, it's gonna rub off on them and they'll want to be around that. The person I've just described, you know who they are. They're the person that you want to do a gig with, aren't they? Don't you want to be with someone who's positive, that's good, that's prepared to play the music, and that's also professional? Of course you do. So remember our guiding principle, you're always auditioning. When I trace back my gigs, they all trace back to doing well when I meet new people for the first time. Our 3 rules, just one more time: be good at your instrument, play well every single time you play your instrument, be professional, show up on time, and lastly, be kind. Be kind. Be kind. Be grateful and be kind. That's actionable stuff. You can do that on your gig today, and I hope that you do. If you got some value from those ideas, I hope that you'll hit that thumbs up. That's going to help me share them with more musicians so they can get local gigs as well. On this channel, I do drum cam videos, give you an idea of what I'm doing on my gigs. I do vlogs where I share a little bit more of what's going on in the life of a professional musician and share the little bit of knowledge I have with you. And I also do educator resources. I try to help band directors and other educators teach their drummers more effectively. If any of that sounds cool to you, then you should totally subscribe, because that way you'll stay notified when I come out with a new video. I'd also love to hear what you think. Leave me a comment below and tell me, what are the things that you do to help yourself get gigs as a local musician? I really want to hear from you. Leave me a comment. Thank you so much for checking out One Drummer's Journey. I'll see you next time. Get at it.